it's really designed to make that big leap forward. So today, EVs take an hour plus to charge to full. And we're looking to transition back towards that, internal combustion engine experience where 10, 15 minutes, you fill up, you go get some snacks, you go use the restroom, you're out of there. That's what that thing does for us, is it's the framework, the groundwork for an EV that can charge from 0 to 100% in 15 minutes.
Mark Hanchett joins me again. He's the founder and CEO of Atlis Motors. Hey, Mark, how's it going?
Great. Thanks for having me here.
Mark, you've had an incredible journey. For those who might not have seen our last episode with him over a year ago, Atlis Motors is creating a fascinating electric vehicle platform geared towards commercial delivery vehicles, I guess is the best way to describe it. Mark, why don't you start us off with a refresher on what it is that the objective of Atlis Motor is?
Atlis is a vertically integrated electric vehicle company. We've got technically 3 pillars here at Atlis. It starts with the energy pillar, which is taking our core product differentiator, battery cell and pack technology that allows you to charge a vehicle in 15 minutes. That is a complete vertical. We're standing up and launching products actually this quarter and next quarter. So we're going to market with those this year. And then the other 2 pillars are focused on a electric vehicle platform, and full-size pickup trucks is our sort of flagship product that we're launching.
So that's kind of different because you started off with sort of a customizable sort of chassis delivery system, was my recollection. And now you're sort of pivoted a bit?
We've never actually pivoted. Their 3 pillars have always been in the plan, but what you're talking about is the XP platform, and we probably talked about that last time. The XP platform is a EV technology platform that anybody can use. So we've got interest with last mile delivery customers to put like a box truck or a step van on top of that. You could put a work truck van on that. You could put an RV on it. You could put anything you want on it. And it'll drive electrification for that particular market base. Those upfitters that don't necessarily have technology to transition to EVs today.
And so how much money have you raised so far through Regulation A offerings?
So to date, we've raised about $27 million, about $27.5 million to date through Reg A or Reg CF offerings.
You've achieved, according to your current price offering of $15.88 a share, a company valuation just under $1 billion, which is astounding. And so the question is, before I want to dive into those batteries a bit and more of your strategy, but how long is it until you have vehicles on the road?
Timelines sometimes shift, but we are hoping to have some vehicles on the road towards the end of this year. And then we'll continue over the next couple of years and launching the XT and the XP platform for external customers.
Let's focus a bit on this battery because it's not your average lithium-ion battery. Tell us about the AMV Cube Cell.
The AMV Cube Cell is it's sort of the final product around a technology that Atlis developed here several years ago, actually. We've been working on it. It leverages sort of the best practices around heat management, thermal management, reducing electrical resistance within a battery cell construction itself. It's really designed to make that big leap forward. So today, EVs take an hour plus to charge to full. And we're looking to transition back towards that, internal combustion engine experience where 10, 15 minutes, you fill up, you go get some snacks, you go use the restroom, you're out of there. That's what that thing does for us, is it's the framework, the groundwork for an EV that can charge from 0 to 100% in 15 minutes.
Wow. And so it's also, its chemical composition is a little bit different. Nickel, manganese, cobalt, as opposed to what is manganese replacing in the whole equation?
The typical cells that are used today are either NMC or LFP, lithium iron phosphate. Lithium iron phosphate is becoming much more prevalent in the industry, but the energy density is super low. So if we're here, they're down there. The other ones are NCO cells, nickel cobalt oxide cells, LCO cells, lithium cobalt oxide cells. And then there's other chemistry solutions that are out there, but NMC it's common in the industry. It's NMC 811. It's high nickel content chemistry solution. But you're seeing the industry sort of fight between NMC and LFP. trying to figure out which one wins. We are chemistry agnostic. We actually don't care what's in there.
The rising price of lithium, at least as expressed in the futures contract for lithium, now at $72,000 per kilogram or per ton, rather, of lithium carbonate. How does that impact your future economics?
We think it'll stabilize over the next 4 or 5 years, but it definitely affects the underlying price, right, for an EV. It raises that price or that sort of baseline price, especially when batteries are about 40% of your cost.
Yeah, exactly. So my question is, I mean, and I wonder this every day, like, is that going to have an impact on the demand for electric vehicles? Are people going to be less likely to migrate from traditional vehicles to lithium-powered vehicles if that price sort of prices the vehicles out of the range of possibility for a lot of people?
Yeah, if prices keep going up, people are not going to buy into it. They care about that sort of monthly payment. That's what matters to them. So we have to work really hard to reduce that cost and keep that price competitive with your internal combustion engine vehicles today.
On the XT pickup, what is, you've got a 500-mile range, 35,000-pound towing capacity. Where does that sort of fit in the list of available electric vehicle tow trucks or tow trucks, pickup trucks, in terms of those metrics?
The electric sort of XT pickup truck really represents that big leap forward. We're trying to displace your big diesel trucks, right? Your big sort of work-centric vehicles, and that's what the XT pickup truck is focused on.
Is it the XT truck that you think will be available to consumers by the end of this year, or is it something more along the lines from the XP platform?
XP platform will come first. Battery pack solutions will go to some OEMs as well as some other startups first, and then XT pickup truck will follow after that.
From an investor perspective, what is the timeline sort of, do you think, till an IPO or a public listing?
What I can tell you is that we are in the process of being public this year. That's about all I can tell you currently.
Well, that's impressive. Now, in terms of we've seen some of the other companies go public this year, Rivian, et cetera, or last year rather, and the market's down, but their performance relative to the market has been less than correlated. So what is driving the investor sort of movement in electric vehicles?
I think there's a lot of failures. There's a lot of turmoil. The market is definitely down with EVs. It's sort of like over-promising, completely under-delivering. And that's driving a lot of negative sentiment in the market today. But it's still a very exciting market because while the market is down today, the future of this market is just growth from here. So you have to look at it as sort of you're at the bottom of that trough today. And it's just, in my opinion, it's going to continue to accelerate up from here.
I mean, I look at the AMV Cube Cell as a pretty significant differentiator for Atlis relative to other car companies. Are you making those batteries yourselves, or do you have an external partner?
No, we actually manufacture them about 40 feet behind me here. So we're making them ourselves.
Are you going to have to outsource that at some point, or at least maybe, scale that separately from the actual vehicle platforms?
One of the biggest hurdles in the EV space is scaling battery production. So we plan to scale that first while we slowly scale our ability to produce vehicles over the next several years. So the sort of energy business and the battery cells, that'll be the first thing that scales. We'll do that in-house.
There's been announcements from CATL, the world's largest battery manufacturer, and LG Chem and Stinitson recently announced a battery plant in Canada worth $5 billion, assuming that's in the neighborhood of 60 gigawatt hours. Do these battery manufacturers setting up shop in North America, does it affect your sort of direction, your optionality in your evolution of your vehicles? Do you think, oh, well, maybe those guys can build our batteries for us more cheaply down the road, or do they have any impact whatsoever on your planning or strategy?
Currently, they don't know how to build our cell. What they're building is they don't have the technical capability to build this. So what they're manufacturing is actually dedicated plants for their customers that exist today. So GM, Ford, Lucid, and others, those plants are 100% dedicated to those customers. They are not necessarily for external customers.
Do you see, so I've been on the waiting list for a Tesla Cybertruck now for, I think this is the third year I'm going into. And there's no indication of any delivery date or any firming up of the timeline at all. And so I'm wondering, you know, being sensitive to the idea that you don't want to necessarily be seen to be critical of a competitor, but is Tesla just jawboning the market to sort of bring in all these orders so that Elon Musk can justify higher share prices?
I don't think Tesla has a demand problem. I think what they have is, like every single company that debuts a prototype, it's built off, it's a concept vehicle. It's not finished. So a lot of people get excited when they see a vehicle running and driving and sort of moving around, and they think, oh my God, it's done. All the engineering work is complete. The truth of the matter is, and whether you debuted at the LA Auto Show or in your own purposeful event, whatever that is, those vehicles are about 1% complete. They're concept vehicles. They're built off like a Model 3, or maybe you bought a bunch of components off the shelf, right? And you cobbled something together, but it looks pretty and it looks nice. People get excited about it. They reserve the vehicle, and that's how you raise capital to then actually engineer the vehicle, and that's what's happening. That's why every vehicle debut has multiple 3, 4, 5 years before it actually launches, because what's debuted is not real. It's a concept. It's functional. It is physically there. So I guess in that essence, it's real, but it's not even close to the final product or what's going into production.
The supply chain issues that have been plaguing industry globally, basically in every sector, have they slowed you down at all?
We're starting to feel the effects of it, more on the electronic side, not on the material side.
And do you see that situation resolving in time, or do you think it's going to get worse with all of the sort of geopolitical, geofinancial machinations going on, rising interest rates, withdrawal of stimulus?
I think it'll get a little bit worse before it gets better, but then it's going to get a lot better. There's a lot of investments going into solving that particular problem. Those investments take time to be realized.
Mark, we're going to leave it there for now. I really appreciate the update, and I appreciate your time, and I look forward to speaking to you again in the future.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. Bye for now.